when half of all CEOs gone immediately? Bro, it's happening right now. We've never seen the level of CEO firings since 07, 08 maybe. We haven't seen the level of CEO firings that we're seeing right now. There is so many CEO replacements. I mean, you guys are saying it like, hell yeah. They're bringing in new CEOs who are more comfortable laying people off, bro. You didn't let me finish at all. You think they just fired the CEO and said, you know what? We don't need a CEO. No, they're bringing in new ones. They're getting in the ice cold hitmen, dude. They're bringing in the CEOs who have no attachment to anything before. As an example, maybe you heard this story. Starbucks has been languishing in the stock market recently. And shareholders believe part of that is due to the fact that their current CEO made a deal with the union to recognize them as their right to exist. And then right about here, yesterday, he got fired and replaced with a new CEO. Like, what happened? They had like a 30 billion swing on the fact that they got a new CEO. Their new CEO is a union busting, hard ass former CEO of Chipotle. There's this guy, Brian Nickel. This guy who thinks unions should not exist. This guy who is the one who's been shaving down the amount of meat you get in your Chipotle. This guy's brought in to try and turn Starbucks around and make some more real profit. And, you know, they have a reason for this. Obviously, this is Chipotle v. Starbucks since 2018. You can see it's been a massive outperformance by Chipotle stock, which has done shockingly well, while Starbucks has languished. And so we're going to see how he does. But this is like a big part of it. Yeah, look, he's very opposed to unions. He violated federal labor law by closing a store that tried to form a union. The shareholders want to try and make more money here, and so they're trying to bring in a real Iceman. Anyway, I'm glad you brought it up. It's happening all over. This is happening all over. You're seeing CEOs get replaced as people prepare for tougher cuts. How do they not go to jail for that? They just get fined. He did get fined. I mean, it is illegal. If a store tries to open a union and you just close the store, it's so obvious what you're trying to do, which is send a chilling effect to all people that try to unionize. They got fined, but you know, again, the fine is so small comparative to the effect. I think they got fined $250K or something. Big A, can we stop our recession by making a big increase to the minimum wage federally so people spend more and other people don't get fired anymore? I'm going to try to attack your question logically. I do think increases to the minimum wage are good. There's obviously some point where the minimum wage would be too high for a business to support. I think the minimum wage should be raised. I think what you're saying is that it's an infinite money hack that will always work. There has to be a number. Something like, people talk about McDonald's or whatever. McDonald's is obviously a big corporation, makes a ton of money. But an individual McDonald's is owned by a franchisee who probably pockets very low six figures a year. Any minimum wage increase at the margins they're at is coming out of that. If it gets under 100, I mean, it's not really worth the risk on their end, right? How much does a Wetzel's franchisee make? Wetzel's, I forgot the numbers. I feel like I'm not a Wetzel's warrior anymore. All I remember from my research, I've decided not to do this for now, was that a Wetzel's in an airport is the cheapest cost, but one of the highest returns. So if you can get a Wetzel's Pretzels in an airport, you could make your money back in 2.5 years, which is incredibly fast. Most franchisees would take 3 to 5. And so I was considering just buying a Wetzel's, but the problem is all the Wetzel's I wanted to buy, they only give you an area. So you can't have 2 Wetzel's in the same airport. And all the airports I would want to do it already have a Wetzel's. So I'd have to go somewhere farther away, and then I wouldn't be able to check in on it. And then I would be at the mercy of a manager who would probably eat up any of my profit. What the fuck is a Wetzel's? You've never heard of a Wetzel's Pretzels? I don't know why I'm doing an ad pitch. Only the tastiest damn pretzels in the world. Look at this tasty all-American pretzel, dude. Just feel that glistening butter and salt. Wouldn't you want that before you get on a plane? I would. Auntie Anne's clears. I heard Auntie Anne worked with the Nazis. I heard the Nazi party called her Der Anten Annen, and I heard that. I heard that's a real thing. I don't know the whole story. I can't say it's a fact 100%. I'm just hearing rumors. I heard she's got real assorted past. I heard the concept of a maximum wage for the first time recently, and it seems like a fantastic idea, although I imagine people would find a lot of loopholes to make it so that they aren't making the money, but their family and friends are. I have talked about the Jay-Z rule for 4 years, and that rule is Jay-Z is a billionaire. He's capped out. There is no further incentive needed for Jay-Z. Jay-Z's got everything. He's married to Beyonce. He's got the respect of his peers in the industry. He's got enough money to do whatever the fuck he wants forever. There is no reason someone needs more money than Jay-Z as an incentive to do anything. We should cap it at $1 billion max. Actually, 999,999,000. Okay, and nobody can go above that. wouldn't he just offshore until a million again? Here's the thing. One thing I've noticed is, and this is not, I'm not going to insult you here, but I just want to say that I've noticed this. Whenever you propose any type of chain that would involve taxing rich people or changing the way the structure of wealth is distributed in our society, there is some person who will very smugly point out that the rich people will try to avoid this. And the implication is, why bother? Why bother changing anything ever? Because somebody will try to avoid it. And that's a really stupid way of thinking. It's like, okay, yes. And then this next step is that now they're doing something illegal trying to avoid it. You can work on enforcement. It's like saying we should ban murder. Why ban murder? People are still gonna murder and they're gonna find ways to avoid the cops. Okay, well then we find ways to catch them. It's not a response to what I said at all, but people love to say it. Every time. It's not even good nihilism, it's like lazy nihilism. It's like, why bother? Jeff Bezos doesn't want to pay taxes, bro. I get it. We are capable of finding ways to make him. How does that work with stock? Obviously, Bezos has most of money in stock. Do you see that asset? I personally do, yeah. The way I'm seeing it is that if Jeff Bezos gets a certain amount of stock, they give it to me. And I get to take it out of his hands. I get to walk up to him and I get to grab it out of him and look him dead in the eye. And I actually look down on him because he's 5'6" or whatever. Why do I have to write essays still for job applications? Straight up, I don't know. I was reading a lot about this today, about actual uses of ChatGPT that people are using right now. I'm just trying to read more about this whole theory I have about AI stocks crashing out and what the fuck is gonna happen with things not making money. One of the massive use cases is people just spamming every job. Although I will say, so I've talked a lot about this. I've talked a lot about how if you're applying for jobs, it's more important, in my opinion, to customize your application to each job because your hit rate will go way up rather than mass spam. But the problem with AI is a lot of people do both. So there's like, I think it's like easy apply and a bunch of these. What they're doing is you put your resume in, you put the job description in, and then it re-customizes your resume to tweak it towards the application, which would be cool if you were the only one who could do it. But now everyone's doing it. Like every job is getting overwhelmed. Recruiters are talking about how it's just a deluge, way more than usual for especially if it's a remote job. An impossible amount of applications. Like the recruiters aren't trying. No, I'm sure they're using AI to read through. Again, we are entering in certain areas of knowledge work, AI products being reviewed by AI and the human element getting taken out of it, which is so interesting. It is coming quicker than I expected. Like there's definitely people who are just doing their job with ChatGPT. Full stop. Dead internet? Definitely. We're definitely in the beginning of dead internet. If you guys don't know, the dead internet theory is basically that once it becomes cost effective, essentially free to create AI slop that is indistinguishable from humans, like bot posts, etc., bot reviews, the internet will become so overwhelmed, 99.999% of it will all be slop, and you won't have any human stuff in there. We're like close. We're close to that. We stopped doing essays in my philosophy class because of AI. Yeah, again, when we talked about this on the stream before, it's always been about school. In like the past, I don't know, year and a half, we've been talking about this. It's always been in the context of school. Like it's up the ability to write essays and kids in class aren't learning because of it or whatever. That's kind of distant. But now it's coming into the early, low levels of the workforce. And what's so interesting about it is like, nobody would blame you. Again, the job is just to get the job done. If you have to make a report on something for your boss and you just throw it into ChatGPT and it makes it, it's not that there's a problem with that in the short term, but in the long term, once the boss figures out, it cuts out the need for your job. That's what I'm saying. And it's not a genie you can put back in the box. It's not like you can blame the individual person. Everyone's just responding to tech. I don't know how it plays out, but it's happening. Now, that doesn't change my core theory that none of this makes enough money to justify the valuations of all these AI bubbly stocks. So I haven't found anything that's going to change my mind on that yet, but it is interesting that AI is being used more for cost cutting to remove jobs than it is for like new products that can charge money. You applied for a job with ChatGPT. The recruiter used Grok to look at my application. I didn't get the job because my AI was too woke. It's tragic. That's tragic. Is it me or do low and middle income workers don't care about their job? Is this undercover boss? You're like walking around in the Home Depot apron. Was it just me? Or does everyone here just not give a shit, huh? Everyone here just don't care. Jeff Bezos in the Amazon warehouse with a big fake wig on. Bro, some people don't care about their job because they don't have any incentive to, bro. They're doing enough to not get fired, but their job doesn't treat them well, doesn't pay them well, doesn't give them opportunity for advancement, so they don't deeply care. Of course. What incentive are you giving them? And of course, you know, with the rise in layoffs, people are always keenly aware that like they are a moment away, no matter how close they are to their workplace, from getting the boot. So they don't let themselves get invested into the 40-year plan and a pension. You cannot blame them for that. It's a very logical response. Their incentive is the shareholders' value. It would be cool if you could somehow tie your work to the shareholder. You know what though? If you could do that, then you could ask to be paid more and have a concrete reason. So they wouldn't do that. They would keep it private. No, I'm saying if they could like, if there was a mathematical number, like a calculator that would just show you how much shareholder value you added with your work that day. On the flip side, it could also lead to people getting fired. It's like, definitely some dude who scrolled Reddit all day is going to get fired day one because he...